This Twins and Brewers series on Fox Sports North is presented by Mall of America. Plan your next trip at mallofamerica.com. Interleague action continues tonight in the Twin Cities, but this time it's a border battle as the Twins welcome the Milwaukee Brewers to town for a 3-game series inside Target Field. Welcome to a beautiful night for baseball in downtown Minneapolis, everyone. I'm Audra Martin. It is bound to be a packed house here at Target Field as the Twins open up a 3-game series against their Wisconsin neighbors who are on the final stop of a long 10-game road trip. Here's a few things to keep in mind for this interleague series. The Brewers come to town winning 5 of their last 7 games so far on this extended road trip, and overall it's been a solid season for the crew with 26 wins, which are tied for most in the National League. And when it comes to this rivalry series, it's been all about Minnesota lately. The Twins have won 5 straight against the Brewers and 6 of the last 8. A big key is the offense with a +24 run differential in the Twins' unbeaten streak. And each team has seen an impressive week at the plate from a key infielder. Brewers third baseman Travis Shaw has 6 extra base hits and 7 RBI in his last 7 games, while Brian Dozier has 9 hits and 5 RBI for Minnesota. Up next, we'll take a look at Kyle Gibson and how the numbers don't really tell the real story of one of the more consistent pitchers for the Minnesota Twins. Dick Bramer and Bert Blyleven take a look at the matchup on the mound next on Fox Sports North.
Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by Northland Ford. Visit buyfordnow.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today.
Rather than the middle of May, it feels like the middle of July. Gorgeous weather for baseball, and tonight from Target Field, the Brewers and Twins open up a 3-game interleague series. Starting pitchers in the opener, left-hander Brent Suter will go for the Milwaukee Brewers, and right-hander Kyle Gibson will go for the Twins. And we welcome you to Target Field, and we welcome back my partner Bert Blyleven for the opening game of this 3-game series. And the Twins will hand the ball to Kyle Gibson. And lately he's been very, very good, very steady and reliable, maybe the best stage in that category that he's had in his career.
Yeah, it started back in August of last year, but really this year, you look at Kyle's last 4 starts, yeah, he has not won a ball game, but what he's been able to do, and I think we have seen a new Kyle Gibson keeping the club in the game. Now his walks are a little high, but he's picking up a lot of strikeouts along the way and going 6+ innings, and that's exactly in today's game what you want out of your starter, and Kyle Gibson has produced that.
The Milwaukee Brewers are on the back end of a long week-and-a-half-long road trip, and they fared pretty well, having won a series in Colorado, won a series in Arizona. In fact, they played awfully well on the road, really going back for the last couple road trips.
Yeah, you look at that National League Central Division, you see the Pirates and the Brewers top 1-2, or the Cardinals and the Cubs not far behind. But the big thing for the Brewers, they are playing very well on the road. 8-2 over their last 10 ball games. How are they doing it? Well, they're averaging almost 6 runs a game. The starters have struggled a little bit, but watch it. They have a very, very good bullpen, so it's important to get that starter early.
And the lineup is starting to click for Milwaukee. At least that is their hope. This year it is the first of 6 matchups between the Brewers and the Twins, and it should be a fun night here at the ballpark. Scene of downtown Minneapolis, with the Twins hoping to put together a good homestand. Frustrating in that the Twins have lost 2 of the 3 games so far in this homestand, but 3 games with the Brewers, 3 games with the Tigers. And it's been a really good start for Craig Counsell and the Brewers. They pitched well. Their bullpen, as you said, has been outstanding. They, like the Twins, have lost some key players, and they will play this series without Ryan Braun, who they put on the disabled list yesterday. Lorenzo Cain will lead things off on the Menards batting order, then Christian Yelich, Jesus Aguilar, Travis Shaw, Domingo Santana, G-Man Choi just recalled today.
Jonathan VR, Manny Pena, and Orlando Arcia.
And it'll be Kyle Gibson on the mound in our home furniture starting pitcher. Kyle Gibson making his 9th start. And we're looking for his first win since his first start back in Baltimore back in late March. So Kyle has kept the club in the ball game, and that's exactly what you want out of your starter. He'd like to get a win here tonight to make it 2-1 record.
Kane, Yelich, and Aguilar to get things started. Brewers on a 10-game road trip, finishing here in Minnesota. So far they've gone 5-2.
Yeah, Kane back with the Brewers, originally signed by the Brewers back in 2004, came up with them in 2010, and then traded over to the Royals. That's where we have seen Kane at his best. All-star for the Royals.
1-1.
Off to a good start.
Brewers adding Kane and Christian Yelich. Just clipping the corner, and it's 1-2.
I remember way back when Kane came over from the Brewers to the Royals in the Zach Greinke trade a long time ago, back in 2010 during the winter.
Good take, 2-2.
Kyle has really had all 4 of his pitches, and I'm calling his fastball, his 4-seam and 2-seam working. He's got good changeup, and then that slider, an occasional curveball too.
On the outside corner, a perfect spot for a 94-mile-per-hour heater.
You know, Kyle over the last 4 or 5 years has never been considered a strikeout pitcher, but that's his 51st strikeout in 45 innings pitched, and the 2-seamer coming back a bit. Home plate arm Marty Foster, thank you very much.
See Bobby Wilson maybe stealing strike 3 for his pitcher. 1 down. Christian Yelich to the batter. Fouled back, a strike. Yeah, it's been interesting to watch Gibson's development and how he has changed how he pitches. He was a sinker slider guy, and you have to give him some credit, I think, because if not ahead of the curve, at least he was on the curve of realizing that as hitting has changed, pitching needs to change, and he has had great success implementing a 4-seam fastball.
I was just going to say, yeah,
rather than everything a sinker slider, because nowadays hitters look for the pitch down like they used to look for it up.
Yeah, they all have that uppercut swing now, and I was talking to Bill Schroeder about that, the analyst for the Brewers, about why there are so many strikeouts, is that guys will chase that high fastball like that right there. Good pitch, just missed the upper inner part of strike 3.
And the count is 1-2 to Yelich.
Well, there's his selections right there. The sinker, fastball. Look at that. That's 60% on the fastball. You got to love that right there. The slider, curveball, and then the changeup.
And that's all well and good, but the fact is he's been able to locate those pitches, and as a result of that, as you said, the strikeouts have spiked up. Another 2-2 count, this time to Yelich. And now a full count.
They're trying to stay in on Yelich. Yelich in his first season with the Brewers, coming over after 5 seasons with the Florida Marlins.
Jesus Aguilar on deck. Missed inside, so 2-2 strikeout, and then he got ahead of Yelich, ends up walking him 1 on 1 out. Northland 4 defense for the Twins, Eddie Rosario, Byron Buxton, and Max Kepler across the outfield. Escobar, Adrianza, Dozier, Bauer, the infielders, and Bobby Wilson behind the plate. Wilson will be asked to split. How evenly will remain to be seen, but he'll be asked now to split the catching duties with Mitch Garver.
Yeah, journeyman catcher Wilson does a good job back there handling a pitching staff.
And Gibson gets ahead of Aguilar, who's having a good year, hitting over 300. A little bit of pop in his bat.
Twins saw Aguilar a little bit when he was with the Cleveland Indians in his second season with the Brewers.
To center field, left center, and it is Buxton with the catch for out number 2. Now, because he's changed how he's pitched, Gibson has gotten fewer ground ball double plays.
Yeah, he has only 3 so far, in his first 8 starts, but just more aggressive, Dick. I think, even when I wasn't here, I watched Kyle go about his business, just more aggressive, trusting that fastball. I think it all goes back to late August of last year when Paul Molitor kind of had that one-on-one meeting with him where the catcher wasn't even involved in. Remember that? And he kind of just told Kyle, hey, you got a good fastball, trust it. He's kind of taken it over from there. Last 16 starts, 7-1 since August 22nd. And most importantly, the Twins are 13-3 in those 16 starts, so allowing the team to win some ball games.
One strike to Travis Shaw. Gibson's gotten just 3 ground ball double plays. He usually was good for about one every start.
One thing Kyle does a good job of too, and that's holding on runners. There's not been attempted steal against him yet this year. Yelich has 3 and 4 attempts, and the Brewers do like to run.
And there's a call, strike 1 and 2.
Good change up there.
Very high to even the count. This will be the 18th pitch of the inning.
Great counsel right there in his 4th season as manager of the Brewers.
Checked his swing, or did he? Strike 3. That ends the inning. A couple of strikeouts, a harmless walk, and a relatively clean first inning for Gibson. Got through the first inning in good shape. And Paul Molitor, I think, ready for his team to take off. They're starting to get some players back, and the lineup hopefully will start to click as the starting pitching crystallizes a little bit. The Menards batting order has Joe Mauer leading off, Brian Dozier, Eddie Rosario, Eduardo Escobar, Max Kepler, Robbie Grossman, Byron Buxton, Ray Adrianza, and Bobby Wilson.
And a Home Furniture starting pitcher, Brent Suter. Suter making his 8th start, his 10th appearance overall. See the 2-3 record, high ERA. Young man, you want to get early because he doesn't go too deep into the ball game. He's not going to overpower you, but he does throw strikes.
A few games ago, the Twins saw another soft tossing left-hander. I hate to use that term because they're throwing as hard as they can, but Wade LeBlanc pitched against the Twins and pitched well against the Twins. They had a hard time against him squaring up the ball, and they've got to watch out the same thing doesn't happen with Brent Suter.
Well, you know, one thing about Suter is that he knows how to pitch because he can't blow guys away. Good fastball, that's going to top out right there at 88 miles an hour. So that's his, as far as the best fastball. But he changes speeds well, comes into the ball game, 42 innings, only 9 walks, and 2 of those intentional.
Ground ball and shuffling to his right as Viari makes the play, 1 away. And that'll bring up Brian Dozier. Brewers haven't played the cleanest ball out in the field, but here's their Northland Ford defense. Santana in right, Kane in center, Yelich in left. And the infield, Shaw, Arcia, VR, Aguilar, and Pena behind the plate.
Yeah, they like the Twins. Very good speed in that outfield.
And Dozier takes a strike over the inside corner. Bauer, Dozier, and Rosario in the first. And a wave at that 75-mile-per-hour off-speed pitch. And it is 0-2.
You know, I saw a guy over here, you probably saw him, Eddie Bain. Eddie Bain, when he came up with the Twins.
Right.
You know, there's a guy that wasn't overpowering, but, you know, had a great college career. Just didn't work out that well at the big league level with the Twins. But he knew how to pitch.
1-2 to Dozier. And now 2-2. No quality starts for Suter. Opponent batting average, as you saw, 287. A lot of home runs. 7 in 42 innings pitched. And Dozier swings through strike 3. 2 away. 2 down. Mr. Blyleven, good to have you back. What's our Pizza Ranch for the win?
Well, what I mentioned before, they got to get to the starters early in this 3-game series because the bullpen is very good. Get to Suter early. Now, his longest outing is 5 1/3 innings, so the first 4 innings pretty good, but he's had a trouble staying away from that multi-run inning, and that's been his biggest nemesis so far.
Here is Rosario. Lifted down the left field line, and Yelich has a long run, but he has no play. 1 strike.
Well, Rosario having a great month of May. We're in 15 ball games, hitting .393, and for power too. 6 home runs, driven in 15 runs. They average up to .296.
Driven to center. Kane is back, still going back, and makes the catch rather routinely. He had to make a good angle, and he got there for the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 first for Suter.
as we head into the second inning. Let's get some scoop from the clubhouse. We got good news on the Miguel Sano front. Paul Molitor said he looked significantly better today, was in a lot less pain, and was not holding back when it comes to running the bases. He says that's all very encouraging and that a rehab stint is now imminent for Miguel Sano. Irvin Santana threw a 50-pitch simulated game last night, and all reports were very positive. So up next, he'll throw 60 pitches in his first extended spring training session on Tuesday, followed by a weekend start for Class A for Myers. And Logan Morrison took advantage of the day off by reading and answering a huge pile of fan mail. He says he's always been so appreciative of what fans mean to the game, so it is the very least he can do. So if you sent a letter to Logan in the last month or so, keep an eye out on that mailbox, guys.
All right, thank you. That's what we were alluding to before. The Twins are with some key players involved, kind of returning to health. At least that is the hope. Domingo Santana, the batter, he takes outside. And we welcome Justin Morneau back up to the booth. Nice job in the pregame, as usual. And good to have you up here for a few innings.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a little warm out there on the right field. A little.
Right.
You don't bring your own air conditioning unit out there with you?
Yeah, the fan.
Yeah. There's all kind of fans out there.
Sure,
they're all waiting
outside
to you.
corner.
You know, one more thing about the rehab is Trevor May worked 4 innings in Rochester last night. Gave up only 1 run, 3 hits.
It's a good problem to have, is too much pitching.
Oh, you never have enough.
Breaking ball misses, and it's 3-2. Gibson has run some deep counts here through the first inning and now into the second. Ji-Man Choi is on deck.
Let's see if he goes back to that fastball away, that two-seamer, maybe the same pitch that struck out Kane. Wilson sitting away.
And a fastball reaching back for 95 to get a swing and a miss.
And strikeout number 3 for Kyle Gibson.
So 1 down. Now, would you care to address the elephant in the room here right away? Because when Bert was gone, you made some comment about pitchers not being very athletic. And as he inches closer toward you now, I'm just curious whether you'd like to reframe your thought.
That's probably why he ate my sandwich.
I tried. Gluten-free. It was very good. I appreciate that.
So
I did not see that it was yours. I didn't know that we had. I never had a sandwich that had bird on it.
No.
So if I pass out mid-game, we know why. Yeah.
2-0 the count to Ji-Man Choi, just called up overnight from Colorado Springs. Got a couple of hits in the ball game for the Sky Sox yesterday. With Ryan Braun going on the disabled list, the Brewers needed first base DH type. Here's a drive to center. It's hit a long way toward the bullpen and gone. He will celebrate his 27th birthday tomorrow, and he will celebrate his home run here in the second inning tonight.
Choi from South Korea. He got a little bit of time with the Angels and the Yankees over the last couple of years, but was hitting well down in AAA, over 300. Hit 5 home runs for the Angels, a couple for the Yankees, and his first here as a Milwaukee Brewer. Fastball pretty much right there, Justin. And, you know, that uppercut swing, got good wood on it.
Ran back right into his barrel, and he didn't miss it. That's a long way in that ballpark.
Deepest part of the ballpark. So the Brewers strike first on the Choi home run, and here's VR. Checked his swing, but a called strike.
Yeah, for Gibson, that's only the 3rd home run that he has allowed, so he's done a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. Choi got all of that one.
I will.
Sometimes it's the guys that you don't focus on are the guys that sneak up and get you. You know, Shaw's been hot. No Ryan Braun, Yelich, Kane. You know, the guys come with reputation, and then all of a sudden, Choi comes up and hits a ball that far into the other bullpen. He'll make you pay attention to him the rest of the series.
Back. Braun with some back issues, held out of a couple of games, and finally during the off day yesterday, they decided to go ahead and put him on the 10-day DL. He's the subject of our Sanford Health injury report. 1-2. Tapper left side, charging is Escobar, and no chance. VR scampers down the line, gets an infield hit following Choi's home run.
Yeah, kind of a swinging bunt right there. Gibson's momentum carries him toward that first baseline a little bit. No chance for Escobar, who was playing deep, to get Villar, who gets out of that box pretty quickly. He's got some good speed, but Escobar fields it cleanly, but you can see Villar already past first base.
And I like what Joe Mauer did there at first base. He came off the base. He realized Villar was going to be safe, so he just kind of steps off. It's a bad throw. He's able to, come off and make a play, and then we don't have something crazy going on, or the throw gets past him and runners are going all over the place. And that's just a veteran guy at first, understanding the situation.
See, sometimes, and that's a good point, Justin, because sometimes those are the little things that you look at. Maybe in the 7th or 8th inning, say, what if that ball got away and he scores a second run, and we end up losing the ball game by 1. Just have those little things like that.
He keeps a double play in order. I think that was one of the things that Tom Kelly really stressed to me. If the guy gets on second, it takes a single to score. If it's on first, it's going to be an extra base hit, and it always keeps the double play in order. That's the most important thing, which is a completely different play. But if there was a double play at first, I didn't like to step on the bag and throw to second, because I like to keep that guy out of scoring position and keep the double play in order, which a good sinker like Gibson's got, you look for him to pound Pena under his hands right here and get him ground ball and turn a double play right here. And Joe making a play like that. It was a good throw, obviously, but he was ready for a bad throw.
And from a former pitcher that's one of the best athletes on the field, I appreciate that.
I think they picked him off. No, close play, and no look into the dugout from Joe Mauer. Villar lucky to get back. Like Gibson might have been able to pick him off. Derek Shelton on the phone real quickly. Joe didn't react, so I think Joe realizes he was safe.
Well, you can see the base runner Villar going to the outfield side of the bag. That's something that's important also.
Yeah, he had aim for that back corner, and maybe if there's a left-handed throwing first baseman there, that's the big difference. That's a hard play as a right-handed throwing first baseman there. That's one reason why you see a lot left-handed players playing first base.
Swinging a foul, 1-2. What does it do to a hitter? We were talking about Gibson incorporating and at times even relying on a 4-seam fastball rather than the 2-seam fastball. You're standing in the box there. Once a guy shows you that he can throw 2 different fastballs, what's that do to you as a hitter?
I think it really changes your mentality.
Ground ball.
There we go. Turn it.
Picked up by Adrianza, and we'll continue that thought in the 3rd.
Good call.
Brewers get a couple of hits, including a home run, and take the first lead 1-0. Target field 1-0. And our Lowe's whole team together, focusing on the Twins' best home records against a single opponent since 2009. And the Brewers at the top of the list at 15-8. And this is a team that's had kind of a hard time establishing a home field advantage for some reason. And again this year, maybe the Brewers being in town will help in that regard. Twins won all 4 games last year between the two teams, and well, that helped the Twins get to the playoffs. They got into the playoffs by 5 games as a wild card team. It hurt the Brewers more because they were left out of the playoffs by 1 game in the National League. Up the middle, a sharp single for Eduardo Escobar to start the 2nd inning.
And that's a nice swing right there. He stayed back, a slow breaking ball, 74 miles an hour. He let the ball come to him and didn't try to do too much. So a guy like that on a pitch that's coming in that slow, sometimes you get a little overexcited and you think you need to hit it in the left field seats, and all he did was hit a line drive up the middle.
Yeah, Esky's really been swinging a bat well from both sides of the plate, being a switch hitter, and showing some power, a little bit more as a left-handed hitter, but good solid swing there.
Here's Max Kepler. A little delay here as a ball would come out of the Twins dugout. Escobar spun his wheels a little bit, but he got back.
I'll tell you what, I think Jeff Smith's going to look at that move right there. There's that 45-degree angle that a left-hander has to be able to throw on, and that almost looked like a balk there.
And Kepler lines it foul. Justin, I know you spent some time working with Max, and the numbers, I don't think, tell the story of how much he has improved. He's hitting .241. But he's really cut back on his strikeouts, and he's had much more competitive and productive at bats against lefties.
And I feel like, I mean, that obviously has nothing to do with me, but he's the one standing in the batter's box hitting.
Right.
But I think what he's done is just felt more comfortable. I think when Buxton was out, he knew that he was going to be playing every day, and he wasn't looking over his shoulder and having to check the lineup every time he came in to see if he was playing when a left-hander was pitching. He came to the ballpark. He's coming to the ballpark expecting to play, and when you have that feeling, when you're not worried about it, you don't feel that added pressure to get a hit your first at bat or prove to them that you should be in the lineup and go 3 for 4 so you can play the next day. And I think that's part of what we're seeing with him, and also just his approach. He's concentrated on putting the ball in play, and he looks good. He looks comfortable.
I think, when we saw him first come up, 3 years ago, there's that always anxiety. You don't know what you're having. And then last year he had a pretty solid year as far as at bats over 500. But it's also the consistency of getting at bats too, is it not?
Yeah, when you're able to run out there every day.
A bunt foul. He tried to lay one down in front of Travis Shaw, who was playing a deep and shifted third base. 2-2. Am I foolish for wanting to see more of that from him against a lefty, even with 1 strike?
And he can run, and that's a situation that's if he gets out, there's still an advanced runner getting the scoring position.
Right.
So it's like a sac bunt that could be a hit. It's one of those win-win for the hitter. And I think something that's going to be hard to see, I think, on TV, but he's really cross-body in his delivery. So what that means, he's stepping across towards the first base side when he's delivering the ball even home. So it's going to be hard for the Twins base runners to get a good read on him.
Driven to the left field corner, but it's slicing foul.
Oh, he's got that speed up delivery too, and that's I think Dan Jennings has that as a left-hander. Very quick delivery. Take a look right here. He brings up that right knee, and then right there heading toward home plate. But he'll do the same if he throws to first.
Yeah, he's almost like Mark Burley in the way that he's working really fast. He's got a good move to first. He's deceptive. He's trying to make the ball move and get you to get yourself out.
And another pitch lifted down the left field line. 2-2 to Kepler. Twins trying to take advantage of Escobar's leadoff single.
I think what I like, and this is probably the difference between Max this year and other years, is the fact that you see him foul those balls off, and he's fouling them off down the third baseline, which lets you know that he's not really pulling off the ball. He's letting the ball travel. He's letting it get deep. He's giving himself a chance to hit the slider and the slow curve ball. The only thing he's really vulnerable to is a fastball inside. But with a guy who doesn't throw that hard, you can worry about it a little bit less. So he's allowed himself to cover 3 pitches instead of just 1.
And I like pitchers who pay attention to runners, but the fact remains Escobar is just 1 for 3 in stolen bases. And he's drawn, what, 4 or 5 throws already. 2-2. Driven to the right field corner. This will stay fair. High off off the wall. Escobar to third. And Kepler with another great at bat against a left-handed pitcher.
And that's exactly what you were talking about, Justin. You know, staying away, fouling it off. And then he did try to come in. And Kepler opened up.
And he did. And he didn't try and do too much with it. He took his 2-strike swing. And that ball's inside off the plate. But he gave himself a chance because he almost forced the pitcher to come inside there. You see a guy foul a ball off the other way like that a couple of times. As a pitcher, you kind of go, okay, well, this guy's leaning on me. He's looking for something slow. I need to try and beat him inside. I can get a ground ball or break his bat right here. And Kepler, that good short swing.
That was a good at bat right there.
He had to miss it.
Grossman takes outside, ball 1. Again, this year, Robbie's got pretty wide splits. As a switch hitter, much better from this side of the plate. And a chance to do some damage. Infield on the right side pulled in a little bit for Grossman. Up the middle, gloved by Suter, and he makes a nice play, and Escobar did a nice job holding his ground at third base. It wasn't hit with him, but Suter was able to get the glove on it, 1 away.
Yeah, Suter does a good job of getting over there, just diving for this ball that was headed up the middle, maybe an RBI, but
look at that.
Suter stopped it again.
Look at that athleticism.
That's what I was going to say. That was the next thing that's coming out of my mouth. What an athlete.
Corner infielders up. Buxton at the plate.
I was going to say that's a tough read as the guy on third.
Right.
When the middle infield's back like that.
Swing and a miss.
Because basically as a base runner, you're over there at third base telling yourself anywhere but the corners, they could be up the middle, past the pitcher.
Get it by the pitcher.
And you have to be sure the ball gets past the pitcher, and he did a good job there, especially with nobody out. The last thing you want to do is run into an out right there.
That kicks away. No chance for anybody to advance. Pena scrambling after it. And it's 1-1.
Well, Suter here this evening making his 8th start for the Brewers, his 24th major league start, 7 wins, 7 losses in his career. Got a lot of relieving also.
1-1 to Buxton. Bunted foul up the line, and it's 1-2. Twins twice with a strike. They've tried to bunt in this inning. Kepler ended up doubling, and now Buxton bunts foul, and it's 1-2.
That's the sign to me right there of a guy who might not be feeling the best at the plate, and he thinks his best chance of putting the ball in play is to bunt. And I don't see anything wrong with that play. He just needs to get a better pitch to do it on.
Well, Byron has had trouble making contact, 18 strikeouts and 60 at-bats.
Just 10 at-bats against a left-handed pitcher this year with all the time on the DL. 1-2. And a high fastball gets him, 2 down. And the Twins now need a big pick-me-up from Adrianza.
And Suter picking up a big strikeout, his second, with that high fastball.
And it doesn't matter how hard you throw. If you locate it where you want to, it's hard for the hitters to hit. And he executed that pitch right above the zone, just high enough. Got Byron to swing under it.
Adrianza, even more so than Grossman, has really lopsided splits, hitting over 300 as a right-handed batter. And he takes strike 1 with 2 on and 2 out. 22 at bats, 7 hits, including 3 doubles from this side of the plate.
This is one of those at-bats that can swing a game right here.
Strike 2. With Suter reaching back for 88 miles per hour.
Find a way to get a hit right here. Probably scores 2 runs. Changes the game. If he's able to get out of it, his confidence kind of grows as the game goes along for a guy who hasn't pitched deep into a lot of ball games. So this is a big at-bat right here, even in the second inning.
Well, he's throwing strikes.
Little flare, and it's fielded by Aguilar, and the Twins start the inning with a single and a double, but don't score. It's still 1-0. as the Twins scored, or the Brewers scored in the top of the inning. The Twins should have scored in the bottom, but did not. And it's good to see a lot of Brewer fans here, just a lot of fans here. What a gorgeous night to spend at a ballpark. My goodness. Kyle Gibson gave up a couple of hits, including a Choi home run. He'll face Orlando Arcia, Lorenzo Cain, and Christian Yelich in the third. Up and in. Ball one. Arcia off to a bit of a slow start offensively. Still a wonderful defensive player. Now Gibson misses again, 2-0.
Arcia just 23 years old, a younger brother, a former Twin. Was Waldo Arcia? He was a teammate of yours, was he not?
He was.
And a base hit over the reach of Escobar into the corner, and it'll be extra bases for Arcia. A leadoff double here in the third inning. And that'll bring up Cain.
Arcia getting his 5th double of the year. Got a fastball. Opened up quickly. Down that left field corner.
Just took his hands straight to that ball. And that's the way you have to hit the high fastball. If you take that big, long uppercut swing, you're never going to hit that ball. He took that barrel directly to the ball, and that's the only way to get on top of that pitch that's up there. It doesn't matter if it's 88 or 95. If your swing's long, if you're trying to hit it in the air, you're not going to get to that ball.
And now Cain, who was called out on strikes his first time up. Foul to the screen, 1 strike. The Twins start the day a game and a half out of first, trailing the Cleveland Indians. The Brewers start the day a half game out of first, but you could not have 2 more different divisions than the American League Central and the National League Central. Craig Counsell has his Brewers as one of 4 teams in the division with winning records. There are no teams in the American League Central with winning records. Cleveland's playing .500 baseball, which is why the Twins, even though they're 3 games below, could be in first place by the end of the weekend.
And that's a good sign also for the Twins, because they haven't really played many division games.
Nubber, it's going to be another tough play for Escobar. He fires on the run, gets the out, and Arcia moves up to third base.
Well, Cain getting the job done, advancing Arcia over to third, and Escobar again has to come scrambling in, and this time gets Cain at first.
You're going to run into weird schedules, I guess, whenever you have divisions with 5 teams in them. There's the play for the first out. But this is the 10th interleague game for the Twins. 10th game against National League teams, and they have only played 7 games within their division. That's all. It would be hard to intentionally come up with a schedule that peculiar. Infield in with 1 out, and a liner foul, 1 strike.
Yeah, it's interesting how they come up with the schedule, because it seems like you should play within your division early when you need to make up games. Then the team comes back. You don't end up with a Seattle situation where they have to come back on a Monday for 1 game, and it's, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to figure out, but.
I would not want to be the schedule maker. I'll tell you what, it's tough with all the interleague games.
Swinging a foul, 2 strikes.
And just like his first at bat, Gibson and Wilson working Yelich inside. First 2 pitches, fastballs in.
Well, they walked him in the first inning. Here they'd like to strike him out for the second out. And Gibson, as we've said, is much more of a strikeout pitcher than he used to be. Hoping to pick up his 4th strikeout in a key spot.
I wouldn't be surprised if he climbs the ladder after he got him to swing at that pitch to go a little bit higher on this pitch.
I think he climbed the ladder, didn't he? 1 and 2.
And now with that pitch, you've got him set up. You can throw something in the dirt. You can throw another fastball up under his
slider
hands.
down and in.
You put a lot of thoughts in that hitter's head right there. Who's all he's trying to do is hit something in the outfield right here.
You see Wilson scooting inside again. There's that slider, but Yelich lays off of it.
2 and 2.
Just a little bit low. You start that baby up about knee high, he swings through that pitch.
Especially with after how he pulled that first pitch foul, it looked like he was looking inside. So if you get a left-hander looking inside, you throw that breaking ball towards their back foot, and it starts on any part of the plate, you usually get a swing on it.
Wilson again going inside.
And he missed inside 3-2.
Yeah, he tried that two-seamer, has some run on it, and just missed the inner part of the plate. So everything has been inside.
So now you've got options. I mean, if he has trust in his changeup, he can throw him a changeup with the infield in. You're assuming that you're getting a strikeout or a ground ball, so you throw him a changeup here, you can get him to roll over, or you come back in hard inside, and looks like what they're trying to do.
And a flare to left, a base hit. Garcia will score, and it's 2-0 Milwaukee. Good at bat for Yelich.
Well, they stayed inside, and Yelich just kind of fought off that 3-2 pitch and picks up his 18th RBI. You can see where all the pitches are, everything inside.
And he came back inside, but Yelich was able to push it to left field.
And that was a nice job of hitting right there with 2 strikes. He didn't try and do too much. He was allowing himself, in case he threw him something off speed there, changeup, whatever it was, he was allowing himself to stay on the ball, and he gets rewarded with a good approach and dunks it into left field like he did.
4 early hits for the Brewers against Gibson, and now Aguilar way out in front of the changeup, strike 1. We're only a quarter of the way through the season, roughly. But if the season were to end today, the 5 teams to make the playoffs from the National League: Atlanta, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, and Arizona.
Everybody's preseason picks.
We all had that, didn't we?
Well, I think the Brewers aren't as surprising. I think their front office showed that they felt like it was a time, like they were getting close to ready to win. They added Kane, they added Yelich. They felt like the team that was 1 game short last year was maybe a couple players short, and they added those guys, and they're off to a good start, and they are a good baseball team. I'm not sure if you told their front office that they're a surprise team, that they'd agree with you with the moves they made. They're saying that they weren't. But when you're a division with the Cubs and their high payroll and World Series a couple years ago, and Cardinals always seem like they're in it. Pittsburgh's surprising some people, I feel like, after the moves they made.
Yeah, Brewers last year 10 games over 500 on the season.
And had a great first half and then faltered down the stretch.
And when you add veteran pieces like Lorenzo Cain, who's won a World Series, and you add Yelich, who's been around for a while, those are the guys that you really lean on in August and September, who've been through that battle, that can help those young guys along and hopefully last through that whole season and carry them into the playoffs.
1-2 to Aguilar, and a deep drive to left. This ball is crushed and gone for a 2-run home run, and it is 4-0 Milwaukee.
Well, Gibson came into the ballgame, as I mentioned, giving up only 2 home runs in his first 8 starts, but boy, it looked like he hung a fastball right there, and Aguilar hitting his 4th home run of the year.
Well, 3 runs in the 3rd inning, still only 1 out, and that'll bring up Travis Shaw.
This is a guy who's got plus power and a nice short swing for a big guy right there. And he pulled his hands in, managed to keep that ball fair, hit it into the second deck.
There's a Jose Bautista shot.
Here is Shaw with the bases empty. 5 hits now and 4 runs on the board against Gibson. He had a start like this against the Astros, but in that game the Twins gave him an early lead and then kind of fell apart in the 4th and 5th innings. Here the Brewers have struck early. Driven very hard and very foul. It had it all. It had exit velocity, it had launch angle, and it came with a man aboard.
Yeah, 107.3 miles per hour, so I got out of here in a hurry. Gonna give him up like that.
And Shaw chases out number 2.
Shaw striking out for the 2nd time, and 4th strikeout for Gibson.
And that'll bring up Domingo Santana. While the Twins are hosting the Brewers, the Indians are playing in Houston, by the way.
That Houston ball club is out to prove. that as hard as it's been to repeat for a team, I think it hasn't happened in a long time. That they made the addition of Garrett Cole, who's been phenomenal for them. Verlander's world still. His ERA is just about 1. I mean, they've got a very good baseball team. It looks like they're hungry again for that World Series.
The Astros are leading the American League West. Twins have seen a lot of the West already, at least Oakland, or excuse me, the Angels and the Mariners. 3-0 now to Domingo Santana. Twins won the series, held here at Target Field against the Astros, 2-1. 3-0 from Gibson to Santana. And a 4-pitch walk will put him aboard. Second walk issued by Gibson. On his last start against the Angels, Twins won the game in 12 innings, and Gibson gave them a quality start the game before that, but not a good one so far here tonight. 24 hours ago, G-Man Choi was playing in Colorado Springs, and now he jumps back into the big leagues, and it's a home run in his first at bat after the recall.
He showed you that short, compact swing with that power.
That ball carried like it was in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
That place is even, I think it's about 1,000 feet elevation higher than Denver. That's a legendary place to hit there, but he didn't need any help there. He crushed that ball.
For personal reasons, I was listening to the Sky Sox ball game last night, and Choi was pulled in the middle of the ball game because they determined he would be the guy that they would call up in the absence of Ryan Braun. Pops straight up in the air. This one really is straight up in the air, and Wilson makes the catch and the inning ends. But it's a good one for Milwaukee as they add 3 more and hit another home run against Gibson. Experience history in many forms. Multitudes of places like Grand Portage National Monument, the Sudan Underground Iron Mine, Fort Snelling, Mill City Museum, and many other areas have been carefully preserved across the state. Visitors of all ages can learn about the intertwined histories of the flower industry, the river, and the city of Minneapolis at the Mill City Museum. Explore Minnesota history at exploreminnesota.com. Share your favorites with #OnlyInMN. Dick Bramer along with Audra Martin, Bert Blyleven, Justin Morneau up here in the booth. Twins with an early 4-0 hole. And Bobby Wilson takes a strike and then takes a ball. It'll be Wilson, Mauer, and Dozier.
Well, Suter doing a good job getting strike 1, 7 of 9 first pitch strikes.
Little Nubbard back to the mound and an easier play for Suter. Wilson retired 1 away. Twins had a chance not only to score but to put together a big inning in the second, a single and a double to start the inning, and then credit Suter, he made some nice pitches and got out of the inning without a run allowed.
And you could see what Robbie Grossman was trying to do in that at bat. He was trying to hit the ball up the middle, and the middle infield was back. He was trying to score one runner and get the other runner over. And Suter knew that. I don't know, Bert, for you as a pitcher, if you knew a guy was trying to advance a runner, you got a runner on second base with less than 2 outs. If
I would have never made that play that Suter made right there. That's a good play.
Your uniform would have gotten dirty, but you wouldn't have made the play.
But as far as the approach goes,
yeah,
would you?
Well, you know that he's trying to inside out the ball, hit it, pass up the middle, get that free RBI. So, you try to change speeds on him, trying to get the barrel of the bat a little out front. And you did a ground ball maybe to third or short and keep that runner from scoring.
Outside 2-1 to Mauer, who hit a ground ball to VR his first time up. Breaking ball missing, 3-1.
Justin, I got to ask you, you're very close with Joe Mauer. Joe has been put into that leadoff spot. He's accepted it, and I think it's a good move by manager Paul Mauer.
Tapped up the line on a 3-1 pitch. And Aguilar to the back, 2 away.
And I feel like, he's an ideal. He's your highest on base guy, and then your most consistent power threat is hitting right behind him. So it's one of those. It also gives the lineup a lot more balance. You can go left, right, left. At some point you're gonna have to stack the left-handed hitters together, but it makes it harder for the other team's manager to match up with the bullpen. And if anyone's capable of hitting leadoff, and a guy who's hit third a ton in his career, hit second a lot in the last couple of years, but he sees a lot of pitches. It's your ideal approach for a leadoff hitter.
That was my point, going to be my point. Joe, a lot of times you'll see 5, 6, 7 at bats, and if you're Brian Dozier on deck who likes to swing at that first pitch, you've seen that pitcher rather than, what's this guy featuring? Brian sometimes doesn't care. If it's a fastball, I'm going to be swinging.
And that's the difference between a guy with power and a guy who's not hitting as many home runs. A power guy might only get one pitch the entire at bat that he can drive out of the ballpark, and 1-0 is a big deal. So, it's hard to criticize Brian as being a leadoff hitter. He's a power hitter who hits leadoff, or who hit leadoff in the past anyway. So it's just a completely different approach. But yeah, as far as the ideal leadoff hitter goes, you look at Joe Mauer. He's going to see 5, 6, 7 pitches. We've talked about it quite a bit, where I loved hitting behind him because I could go up and swing at the first pitch if I wanted to, because I knew he was going to see 5 or 6 pitches, and I knew what the pitcher had, like you said.
Fouled back 1-2 to Dozier. There should be an ancillary benefit, one would think, for Brian once he gets into his summertime home run hitting groove. There's a better chance somebody's going to be on base. There's a man who a couple years ago he had 42 home runs but only drove in 99 runs.
Only in,
well, relative of course, but yes. You know what I'm saying.
I mean, for that many home runs, yes, I agree. It's a little different, but you got to think of who's on base. He's hitting with 8, 9 hitters behind, in front of him, so it's a little different, the way a lineup is built. But if a guy's comfortable hitting in a certain spot and he hits that many home runs, you kind of just leave him alone most of the time.
Whack to third, picked up by Shaw. Dozier retired, and now 6 in a row set down by Brett Suter.
Fox Sports North is presented by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the Twin Cities. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Quick start for the Brewers, 4-0. Kyle Gibson had a good first inning, and as he was about ready to wrap up the first inning, I asked Justin Warno what Gibson's addition of a four-seam fastball does to a hitter. Well, the Brewers have since scored 4 runs, but still, we've seen him pitch awfully well. So putting another, here's a line drive to center field, putting another pitch in the minds of a hitter should be one of the reasons why he's had a better season so far this year.
Yeah, anytime you're aware of another pitch, it's almost, you know, the cutter and the fastball are 2 separate things. So when you're aware of the four-seam fastball and the sinker, you're not looking in one plane in one spot. You can anticipate the movement of the two-seamer. If you see it over and over and over again, it's the same fastball. Eventually you make that adjustment, or you should make that adjustment as a major league hitter. And when you have that four-seam fastball, all of a sudden it just puts in the back of your mind, okay, this guy's starting to pitch up now. And when you don't play a team a lot like the Brewers, the scouting reporter, the advanced scout that they'll get will
hit well to the left field corner. Another solid contact, one hopping the wall. And Villar round second, on his way to third, and a nice retrieve by Rosario. But Kyle Gibson's in the soup again here in the 4th inning.
Well, I was going to say, you guys were talking right there. To me, as a pitcher that does have struggled early on, that this inning is very important for Kyle Gibson. It's just not starting off very good, and you can see Paul Molitor looking maybe at the bullpen already. That two-seamer came running in, and good at bat right there by Pena, hitting that ball down that left field corner, and a good play by Rosario, keeping the double play in order right here by one hopping Dozier at second base.
First and third, infield back. They'll play for a double play grounder, and there's a pitch up and in. Haven't seen Gibson throw much in the way of breaking balls. I can remember one good changeup, but it's been mainly two-seamer, four-seamer, I think, here in the early going. And fortunately, he's already yielded 7 hits and issued 2 walks. Way out in front, 1-1.
And that's what throwing that two-seam fastball inside to a right-handed hitter makes him aware of that. And it looked to me like Pena was looking inside. He pulled that pitch, he hit it hard. So either they're looking in, and now it's time for Gibson and Wilson to make the adjustment right here and see what they do.
Yeah, the last pitch is slider. He goes back to another slider, just misses down and away.
Two and one. Arcia with a double and a run scored last inning. Double play grounder, and they get the double play but yield another run. They are coming in from third. Second double play grounder for Gibson, and it's 5-0. The women's baseball experience returns tomorrow and is brought to you by Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine. Twins clinicians and coaching staff will lead participants in an interactive on-field baseball clinic and include panels featuring women in sports and nutrition. Learn more and sign up today at twinsbaseball.com/women's clinic. Bases empty, a run in, 5-0. We're just in the top of the 4th, and here's Lorenzo Cain. And there is a breaking ball on the outside corner.
Sometimes when it's not going your way, you start inventing stuff. You start going to trying something different because the fastball's been getting hit pretty hard. So he's starting to throw more breaking balls.
And again, same pitch, same spot, 0-2.
Now he's got him set up. If he wants to throw that two-seam back inside, he can break his bat, or he can see if he can get him to chase on another breaking ball right here.
Oh. And he doesn't chase. 1-2.
Cain, to me, even when he was with the Royals, always to me looked like a diver. That's why you have to show him hard in from time to time. Not saying that sometimes you have to repeat hard inside, but in the count, you throw that slider down and away, he'll go chase after it.
Back to Gibson. Couple of hits to start the inning, another Brewer run, and they lead it 5-0.
G-Man Chu making it a 1-0 ball game with his first home run in a Brewers uniform. Aguilar hitting a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning that the Brewers made it a 4-0 ball game, and then they added another run in the 4th. So far, Brent Suter has been outstanding. 3 innings, only 2 hits allowed. Goes back to back, and he worked out of that 1st, 2nd, and 3rd situation in the 2nd.
Came close to getting in here.
I was going to let you catch it.
Somebody scratch his head.
Down and away. 1-1. Well,
I think that gets the brain cells moving.
How would you?
I need one of those.
I have a couple.
Do you?
Yeah.
1-1 to Rosario. And low 2-1. Well, not only has Suter pitched well, he had a 1-2-3 first, gave up a couple of hits. Now he's retired 6 in a row, but he's working quickly.
And it reminds me of Mark Burley, the way he worked, and he would speed you up, and he would make you not give you time to think, and every time you stepped in the batter's box you look up and all of a sudden the pitch is on its way, and he can almost force you into swinging at some pitches you don't want to swing at.
And a ground ball hit right into the shift. 1 away. And it'll bring up Escobar. Twins fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by T-Mobile. Download the app, take Fox Sports North and Twins baseball wherever you go.
I don't know why pitchers don't work quicker. I know Bob Gibson was a quick worker. Remember Jim Cott when he went to Chicago, had that quick pitch right off the get-go. I mean, won 20 games 2 years in a row doing that.
And you just saw Escobar step out on him. The Twins aren't having much success in this game, only 2 hits. And you're going to see them try and disrupt the timing of Suter. He's dictating the pace of this game, and the hitters are trying to step out on him. And you see Escobar didn't get out of the batter's box right there, so it's affecting their approach, and you'll see Escobar should jump right back in and get ready so that he's not going to be surprised by this pitch. It's really I don't understand why more pitchers don't do it either, because it really affects the hitter.
Now up and away 2-1.
He's getting that ball and he's getting back on the mound. He's cleaning his shoes off right now, but he's like 10 seconds in between pitches with nobody on base, and I think the major league average is somewhere in 25 to 28 seconds. So you're rushing those hitters. You're making them think. You're not giving them time to settle in, get comfortable, and the result is no runs and 2 hits so far.
And he's gotten himself in some poor counts to good hitters like Mauer, and he's been able to come back with a good pitch like the one to Escobar.
Well, very aggressive. He's very aggressive in his delivery and then the release toward home plate. So, yeah, high fastball right there. Escobar goes after a high fastball. Suter picks up his 3rd strikeout.
2 down in the 4th. Let's find Audra Martin.
Well, guys, you were talking earlier about Max Kepler's success against lefties this season, and here's how impressive his turnaround has been. Coming into tonight, he was hitting .303 against lefties compared to just a .152 average last season. It's the biggest improvement of all left-handed hitters this season. And with the double earlier tonight, he now has 7 extra base hits off of lefties this year. Last year, he had 6 all of last season. Max told me that he admits he was a little frustrated last year. This year, it's all about patience, and his approach at the plate is all about realizing he can control the at-bat, waiting for the right pitch to swing at, guys.
And still have a competitive at-bat after the 2nd strike. We've seen that a lot against left-handers, and now the ultimate test, it's 0-2.
You know, just having confidence is a big thing, too.
Fouled away.
And it looks to me like he might have choked up a little bit that pitch, give himself a little more time in case he comes inside. He let the ball travel. If that's just making an adjustment and being comfortable as a major league hitter.
Good take there, 1-2.
I always love this shift against left-handed pitcher with 2 strikes. I just felt like I could let the ball travel and almost flick it the other way. You know, you just hit it. And I said this earlier, you're vulnerable inside, but if the guy tops out at 88, you don't have to worry about it as much. And if it's 96 coming in, you have to respect that fastball in. But he already showed that he could turn on that pitch with 2 strikes.
2-2.
He had a very good at-bat in the 2nd inning, his first at-bat, when he hit the double.
3-2. Grossman on deck.
Seven pitch at bat so far.
How about that? It was 0-2. And at the very least, he reaches with 2 outs, and he'll force Suter to pitch from the stretch, where he will pitch more deliberately than he has from the windup.
Suter walking his first batter. Tried that 3-2 breaking ball. You see the different pitches where they're at.
Everything pretty much on the edges of the strike zone. He's not really. He hasn't really given in too much, and that's kind of a surprising pitch to me right there with a 5-0 lead and 2 outs. To not really go after him right there.
Replay brought to you by Dodge, and now Grossman takes ball 1.
You could set yourself up for a big inning sometimes like that with a 2-out walk right there, and if he looks back on this, that'll be probably one of the at-bats that he might question himself or kick himself over just by saying, you know, I probably should have challenged him right there and see what he could do with a 5-0 lead. Now in a higher stress situation pitching.
Missing badly inside again, and it's 2-0, and now the first trip to the mound from Pena. What the Brewers have gotten from Suter at times have good starts to ball games, and then things kind of melt down in the middle innings, and the Twins haven't produced any of the meltdown yet, but now with a man aboard, he's fallen behind Grossman 2-0.
Well, again, this is his 8th start, his longest outing, 5 1/3 innings. That came in St. Louis back in early April. He's good for 5. He has been in the first 7 starts.
Inside again, and he's missing inside badly with all 3 pitches. Buxton on deck.
Sometimes when you have, I mean, Bert, you can probably talk about this a little better than I can, but sometimes when you haven't had many runners on base and all of a sudden there's somebody out there and you're pitching from the stretch, you're not from the windup, it can disrupt your comfort level out there. So
Marty Foster called an inside strike, 3-1.
Well, I mean, he does work quick, and I know it worked for Mark Burley. Sometimes you can work too quick, but right there, falling behind, got a fastball in, which is a strike, 86. Here you have to challenge him. You have to just fastball right there, make him swing the bat.
Squirted to the right side. Grossman trying to beat the shift, and the ball dropped at first by Aguilar. To third goes Kepler. That was a good play by VR at second base because he was playing near second and had to cover a lot of ground, and then his throw seemed to be on target, but Aguilar didn't catch it.
VR knew when he got to this ball he couldn't get in front of it. He had to do it all in one motion. And Aguilar probably a ball right here, Justin, you probably able to catch, but in and out of the glove.
And that's one of those ones where your distance to the play as a first baseman is how low you get to the throw. You don't really stretch, you just get as low as you can because you know that throw can go anywhere. That guy's throwing the ball on the run like that. You have to prepare yourself for a bad throw and be happy if you get a good throw.
They give Grossman a single. They charge VR with an error. And there's strike 1 to Buxton. Well, the Twins given an extra out and a 2-out walk. We'll see if they can cash in here. Buxton struck out with runners at second and third and 1 out in the second inning. Checked his swing. 1-1. They appeal, or they're trying to. And Marty Foster, I don't think, has motioned to Mark Ripperger that they wanted to look.
Yeah, that one will get the catcher a little frustrated, I think, sometimes.
Swing and a miss as they come inside and get a foul tip, and it's 1-2.
Almost as much as the hitter. Like we talked about the other day with the hitter, when the umpire doesn't check on a check swing,
yeah.
The catcher's back there going, okay, could you just ask him, even though he didn't swing or you think he didn't swing, maybe the guy at the first baseline had a little better view of it. Can you just take a look at it? Sometimes the catcher will get a little angry over that. I've seen catchers get thrown out of ball games for that.
And Byron chases upstairs again, and the Twins strand 2 in the 4th. On to the 5th, and the Brewers have jumped on the Twins early here, 5-0. Christian Yelich will lead off the 5th against Kyle Gibson. There's a first pitch strike, an off-speed pitch, and the Brewers, I think it's fair to say, in the first 3 innings really sat on and teed off on Gibson's fastballs. And now he's mixing in some of the off-speed stuff. Like a change up there off the plate, 1-1.
It's interesting because they pounded him in, and they showed that he was going to pull the ball. Yeah, and now they're going back soft away. So I think with 2 strikes they might come back in, but right now they're trying to make him prove that he's going to hit the ball the other way, or he can hit the ball the other way.
1-2. Brewers winning a 4-game series in Colorado, then winning a series in Arizona before coming to Minnesota.
See where Wilson sits. He goes back inside here.
Straight up in the air. And this is trouble. Bobby Wilson makes the catch, reaching back. It would have been a foul ball. And Wilson, with the shift on, had to make the play.
Why did that athlete in the middle of the field try and catch that one?
Well, pitchers are supposed to stay out of the way. What you'd want to do is control who's going to catch it. See Wilson has to reach back to get that. Nice play by Bobby Wilson right here. Good concentration.
It was. I think Adrianza normally should call him off there. It's an easier play for the fielder running in. But I think he assumed that Bobby was just underneath the ball. You never want to call a guy off that looks like he's settled and ready to catch it. Then that's how you end up with a collision, or the ball falls and nobody catches it. So that's the one thing I loved about Joe. When he caught, he would catch all those ones around the on-deck circle, those ones that are a little tough to get to because I was a little slow over there, and it was a Gold Glover. So if he wanted to take it, I was happy if he wanted to catch him.
1-1.
Well, this is really an inning where Kyle needs a 1-2-3 right here. Get him back in the dugout, let the offense get going. You had Suter in a high stress inning, finally had a runner in scoring position there. Get him back out there as quick as you can and see if you can get him a little fatigued and making some mistakes and get the Twins back in this ball game. But it starts with Kyle Gibson right here.
Well, I said it was last inning, but the back-to-back singles kind of hurt there, and they ended up scoring a run, the 5th run. But you're right. I mean, you're out there. You want to get your club back on the bench as quick as possible. Gibson's pitch count at 77, 45 strikes.
2-2 to Aguilar. Hit a long home run to left his last time up. A towering fly ball. Rosario with a long run and no play. That was up in the air a long time.
That's kind of what makes this ballpark tough to play the corner outfield on. There's not a lot of foul ground, but all of a sudden it gets big in that angle.
Right.
He was running on the warning track for probably a good 40 feet right there, where he's going after that ball, and you don't really know when you're going to run into that wall, and it's about knee high, and you can get clipped and end up head first in the stands pretty quick. So I think he plays as good a left field as I've seen anybody play in this ballpark. We saw it earlier in the game, that play he made off the wall, kept Pena to a single. I mean, he's impressed me with how good he is in left field.
Just off the outside corner, and it's a full count. '80th pitch of the ball game for Kyle Gibson, and he ended up walking Aguilar with one out. That'll bring up Shaw.
Third walk for Kyle.
June 1st is Skol Night at Target Field. A limited number of Skol theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a Twins purple Skol cap. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/Skol or call 800-33-TWINS. Here is Shaw. He has struck out twice against Gibson, once on a check swing, once on a full swing. Strike in the outside corner.
Shaw looked to me like he was looking to pull. His power numbers have really taken off since he went to Milwaukee, but you can see it. His approach is almost dead pull. It appears off Gibson with He had a rocket foul. Would have been a homer his last at bat.
Swing and a miss 0-2.
Well, you can see Shaw's a free swinger. He will strike out, you know, once out every 3 at bats, but got some pop. 10 home runs this year, 31 last year in 144 ball games in his first season with the Brewers, coming over from Boston.
And you always like to see a guy when he gets an opportunity take advantage of that. He did that last year. He came over, was kind of sent out of Boston, and Boston, looking back, has been kind of searching for a third baseman for a while. He did it. He's done a nice job of taking advantage of his playing time.
They got Rafael Devers over there now. He's just 21 years old, but he's going to be a star in the league for quite some time, I would think. A little fly ball to left, and Rosario comes in, and that's out number 2. Just to put up a 0 might take, or might be a step forward to try to get some momentum turned around, but then the Twins have to come back, obviously, and score some runs. But it's hard to reverse gears in a game when you keep giving runs back. And the Brewers got 1 in the second, 3 in the third, another 1 in the fourth.
And it kind of sort of drains the energy from the ballpark a little bit when you don't play well at home, and you kind of get down early, and that excitement and life and everything that we talked about in the pregame show. Right now, the Brewers fans are really the only ones who are excited, and it really does give you a boost when you hear your home fans are behind you and they're there, and it gives you that energy you need. And it's kind of been taken away from this game, so they need something positive to happen here to turn it around.
There's a base hit to left center. Aguilar will hold up at second base, and they throw behind him, and he gets back.
A high fastball right there. Santana hit that ball sharply into center field.
No activity in the Twins pen, but the Twins absolutely have to have Gibson to get the third out here. There's a pitch left up, but in the strike zone and handled by Santana. Here comes Choi, who hit a home run over the 411 mark in left center field in his first at bat after his recall.
Yeah, Gibson making his 9th start. The 8 hits that the Brewers have is the most hits that he's allowed in an outing so far this year.
Twins came into the ball game with the 10th best ERA in the American League at 4.47, and the Twins frankly need that ERA number to be better. But it is better than the team ERA last year, which was 4.59. The difference is a lot of investment was made in the starting rotation. Trevor Hildenberger getting loose now with the acquisition of Odorizzi, signing of Lance Lynn. 1-1. And a foul, 1-2, and that got Marty Foster.
And the offense hasn't really been in one piece, so to speak, very much this year. And even when Buxton's been out there, he hasn't hit the way he did in the last part of last year. Sano, unfortunately, not in the lineup more than he's been in the lineup at this point now. Those are 2 major pieces, and the reason why there was so much success last year, they really need those guys, because when Buxton's on base, he creates havoc. He takes the pitcher's focus off of the hitter, puts it on the runner. When Sano's up there, you're always aware when he's 2 or 3 hitters away as a catcher and as an opposing manager, because you know if you have base runners when he comes up, it can always be a 2 or a 3-run homer when he's standing at the plate. So they really need those guys, number 1, to be healthy, and number 2, to be the players they were last year and be productive.
Very high.
And a good offense always makes a pitching staff better.
Yes, it does.
Well, we saw that last year. I mean, the pitching was better last year. Gibson turned his season around, if not his career. Barrios was good in the second half. Irvin Santana was good. But what really propelled the Twins into the playoff spot was a lineup that was among the most productive in baseball in the last 2 months of the year. Swing and a miss.
Good changeup.
And the Brewers strand 2. Gibson puts up a 0. It's still 5-0 Milwaukee. 2-0 Milwaukee. Okay, first half of the game goes to Milwaukee. We'll grant that. And our Pepsi fans of the game, at least some of them, hoping that the Twins will come back here and win this ball game. Got Brewer fans here. A guy with a Leinenkugel shirt. We assume he's a Brewer fan, but we don't know that. Very pleasant night. Here's Adrianza taking strike one, and Suter's done a lot of that. You talked earlier about him setting the tempo of the game. Well, it starts with strike one.
Yeah, now, 12 of 17 first pitch strikes.
And Adrianza wasn't quite ready for the second pitch, so he stepped out. And another easy play. Suter fields the first hop, one away.
Yeah, third time the Twins have hit a ball back to Suter. Of course, he made that great play in the second inning. A couple other ones just hit softly back to the left-handed pitcher.
And that, to your point, Dick, that's something that is talked about in the dugout, whether it's by Paul Molitor or James Rowson or someone saying, hey, disrupt his timing, step out on him, don't be afraid to call time, don't let him get too comfortable. That's not one of those things that's.
And Wilson on the first pitch will be retired. 2 away. This is pretty much what the Twins did against Wade LeBlanc a few games ago. Just no solid contact at all. Quick at bats.
And it might be one of those games that would be beneficial to turn the radar gun off. Because when
Paul Molitor here, and he's going to have a discussion with Marty Foster about something.
Pinch hitter.
Pinch hitter. Joe Mauer is being pinch hit for. As if the night couldn't be more frustrating. Now something is up with Joe Mauer, and Logan Morrison will hit for him. And Marty Foster now explaining something to Craig Counsell. I think there's something beyond the substitution here. Morrison's hitting for Mauer, but
and I think he was telling Counsell that it didn't count as a visit, a mound visit for the catcher, because they called time and Morrison took so much time to get up there. He allowed the catcher to go out to the mound because it didn't look like Logan was ready to hit. I think maybe something happened to Joe Quick there. Who knows? I mean, we don't have to do that, but he wasn't really ready to hit, so they don't count it as a mound visit. They're not going to hold it against the pitcher and the catcher because the Twins hitter wasn't ready.
And Morrison takes strike one. Well, we'll let you know why Mauer left the ball game as soon as we found out.
And back to my point about the radar gun, I wasn't trying to insult the pitcher. I was just saying sometimes when you're used to seeing 95, 96, and all of a sudden you look up there at the radar gun saying 85 to 88, you start getting a little over anxious. You start feeling like we should be hitting this guy hard, and instead of getting your pitch, you're swinging at the first pitch you see, and it ends up being a pop up to third, a weak ground ball back to the pitcher, whatever it is. And instead of having the same approach as a guy that throws 95 or 96, or a guy that you respect as a #1 starter, you can talk yourself into swinging at some bad pitches because you're looking at the velocity and you're thinking that I should be hitting this guy instead of looking for an actual pitch.
Well, you know, sometimes you go to a high school game, you go to a college game, and you see the scouts with that radar gun. They want to see the 96, 97. But you know what? This kid is a pitcher. He has been a good pitcher here tonight.
Hats off for heroes, because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Well, Morrison is in the game at first base, of course, and again, as soon as we find out why Joe Mauer left the ball game, we will let you know. Bottom third of the order, and the first pitch popped up near the mound. And it is the shortstop Adrianza making the catch, and I think it's a good thing because I'm not sure Logan Morrison saw it. We have twilight skies here, and I don't believe Morrison even knew where that ball was. Adrianza saw it, caught it, and Gibson gets the first pitch out.
Yeah, with Morrison, let's go back to when Morrison wasn't ready to hit, so whatever happened to Joe Mauer was kind of like last second.
Right. One down, and now Manny Pena. Pena has bounced into a double play and singled. Gibson, even though it won't be a quality start by any means, is trying to give the Twins at least 6 innings here. 0-1, approaching the 100 pitch count.
Well, that's what you want as a former starter myself. You know, if you're going to have outings that aren't that good, but if you can get one more inning, that's one less out of the bullpen.
Yeah. It's so important to keeping the bullpen in order, if you will. 2-1. Hildenberger's ready should the Twins call on him, but if Gibson can get a quick second and third out here in the 6th, that would be ideal. And now he falls behind Pena, and if he walks the number 8 batter, that might be the end of the night for him.
So we have to trust the fastball away right here. Wilson's not going to move that much off the plate. Give me a good strike.
And he missed badly upstairs, and Pena will take a walk.
4th walk for Gibson.
And here comes Paul Molitor. That'll be the end of the night. Very disappointing night for Gibson, who seemed to be getting on a bit of a roll. And then everything kind of fell apart on him in the 2nd inning after the Choi home run. And Gibson will not complete 6 innings. Instead, it's 5 1/3, and Hildenberger will come in next. Scoreboard so far with the Brewers up 5-0. Partial season ticket packages are now available in the Delta Sky 360 Club. You can become a Twins season ticket holder today. Become part of the Sweet Spot Rewards program. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com or by calling 800-33-TWINS.
Oh, Trevor Hildenberger coming out of the bullpen, making his 20th relief appearance. 19 2/3 innings, 17 hits allowed. He's walked 6, but 3 of those intentional with 15 strikeouts.
Brewers already leading 5-0. The number 9 batter Arcia has doubled and scored and hit into a double play. And a breaking ball sweeps over the inside corner. To the right side, Hildenberger. Nobody at the bag, and he got the shore out. Dozier was charging toward the bounder, unsure whether Hildenberger would be able to make the play on it, and Adrianza was not quite at the bag yet. 2 down. And that'll bring up Kane.
Actually, a good play right there by Hildenberger because the ball hit back to him. You said Dozier's coming in, but watch Adrianza right there. He gets over there a little bit slow and maybe had a chance, but with Bryant being so close, it just, okay, let's make sure we get the out, and he does.
And if Dozier goes to the bag and Hildenberger can't make the play, well, then that looks pretty foolish, and it's an infield hit. Kane hits one right to Dozier, and Hildenberger gets a couple of ground ball outs, and the Twins put up another 0 in the top of the 6th. On all your home improvement needs at Menards. And by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today.
All right, Ralphie, right there. We're here by circle.
It is 5-0 Milwaukee. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, Brian Dozier, Eddie Rosario, and Eduardo Escobar will bat. And Dozier takes another first pitch strike from Brent Suter. Brent Suter got his degree from Harvard University in environmental science and public policy. And he has taken the Twins to school here tonight on the pitching side about how to throw strikes, get ahead of hitters, control the pace of the game, and everything that's good about pitching. He has done it.
I mentioned he's a pitcher, you know, and that's what's nice to see is young men like this that, you know, have struggled a little bit getting to the big leagues.
Dozier takes up, and it's 1-2.
But not here tonight. He has been right on. Again, a lot of times, you know, scouts look at that velocity. They want 94, 95, but there's a lot of kids out there like Suter that need to know how to get strike one and then go from there.
2-2. Now, Suter's history hasn't been very good the third time through the batting order. He struck out Morrison to end the 5th, and now Dozier's getting his third look at him. And he strikes him out. Came in with a fastball off the plate. And that's the first out of the 6th inning.
And Suter picking up his 6th strikeout.
And a little cutter up and in.
One down, and now Rosario's hit a line drive to center, and then he hit a ground ball to Arcia on the right side of the infield.
Suter's high in strikeouts in a ball game, 8 last year against the Baltimore Orioles in Milwaukee. Longest outing this year, as I mentioned before, 5 1/3 innings. He's at 5 1/3 innings right now. His longest career outing, 7 innings, came last year against the Cardinals.
And a foul back. Today we say goodbye to a dear friend, Frank Quilisi, at his funeral today in Woodbury. And I want to commend you for the great job you did eulogizing Frank.
Thank you.
It was he was a friend to everybody and a friend to everybody in Twins territory. Rosario whacks one into the right field corner, and the Twins will get an extra base hit here with 1 out in the 6th. Well, Rosario on second base, and that'll bring up Escobar.
Very proud to have the opportunity to do the eulogy, but very proud of Lila, Frank's wife, that went through a lot with Frank at the end, and she was very strong today, along with the Quilisi family.
Frank played, coached, managed, broadcast games, and as I said the other day, if the Twins ever wanted somebody to sweep up the ballpark after the game, if they'd asked Frank, he probably would have done that too.
Tom Kelly did the same thing. Paul Molitor did the same thing. A player, a coach, a manager, and a broadcaster. Only 3 in Twins history.
Here is Escobar.
So Frank, I know you're up there looking down. We miss you. We love you.
How about the radio team that Herb Carneal's had added to his team, if you will? Joe McConnell passed away a couple of weeks ago, and now Frank Quilisi was one of Frank's favorite, or Herb's favorite partners.
Okay.
1 strike, and Escobar takes inside. It's 1-1. Escobar with a single and a strikeout so far. And Suter approaching his 90th pitch. Up and in, 2-1. Suter with a couple of wins on the year. Not a quality start so far this year, but he's 2 outs away from shutting out the Twins through 6 innings here tonight. Up the middle off his shin and bobbled by Arcia, and the Twins will have runners at first and third with 1 down. A hot smash up the middle, and Shin, or Suter rather, looked like he got hit somewhere in the leg. And with 1 out, there are runners on the corners, and now they'll come out and check on Suter. He says, no, I'm fine.
He says he's okay. We've seen balls hit up the middle. Suter made a play, but this one stayed down off the shin area. And Arcia couldn't barehand it. Really had no play, I think, if he was even with Escobar hustling down that line.
Question on this, and maybe you know the answer, maybe someone on Twitter will. Once the ball is touched by a fielder, in this case the pitcher, Suter, if the ball had hit Rosario, the play continues, right? It's not as if it were a batted ball.
Yeah, it's not a dead ball.
Right. So no one would have been ruled out if Rosario had been hit by a deflected ball.
Right.
Jeremy Jeffress has been really good for the Brewers out of the pen, and that would apparently be the next option for Craig Counsell. Here is Kepler. He's had 2 wonderful at-bats against Suter. A long at-bat and a double high off the wall in the 2nd inning, and then falling behind 0-2, drawing a walk, and he takes ball 1. Plenty of time to come back, but the Twins need to get something out of this. They were given an extra out after a 2-out walk in the 4th and didn't score. They started the 2nd inning with a single and a double and didn't score. Driven down the right field line, deep to the corner, and foul. Very similar to the double he hit in the 2nd inning.
That looked like Suter took a little off that pitch, and Kepler just a little bit out front. See where that landed, about 5 feet foul. Off the wall.
1-1 to Kepler. And now fouled back. Off the plate, 2-2. Rosario sprinting down the line. He can do that because the third baseman Shaw is about 40 feet away from the bag. And Kepler with another foul. One good swing could put the Twins right back in the game here. But there haven't been many good swings against Brent Suter. 2-2 to Kepler. Inside, he took ball 3. Had to check his swing. Grossman the on-deck hitter, but my guess is if Kepler reaches by any means here, Grossman will face Jeffress. Full count to Kepler. And a drive to left. Retreating is Yelich. Tagging is Rosario. And the Twins at least get a run back here on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Max Kepler.
Another good at bat by Kepler. Able to get Rosario in from third. So Kepler picking up the RBI, his 16th of the year. It's a 5-1 ball game.
And a run coming in. And it won't be a quality start after all for Suter, but he can qualify for the win as the Brewers now will turn things over to what has been a lock solid bullpen. And yeah, I'd smile too if I pitched as well as Brent Suter did here tonight. For tonight's Coors Light refreshing finish, and the Twins had their hands full with Brent Suter.
Well, you know what? He attacked the zone. He had a season-high 6 strikeouts, only 1 walk, 97 pitches, 63 over the plate. And the biggest thing, getting strike 1. 23 batters faced, 17 first pitch strikes. So the left-hander did a good job here. Now relies on his bullpen. Runner at first. Escobar still his responsibility, but working into the 6th inning.
And here he is, hard-throwing right-hander Jeremy Jeffress. Look at the numbers, an ERA of .40, but 20 strikeouts, 7 walks,
He's given up only 9 hits in 22 1/3 innings.
This one hit to left center field, but right there is Yelich. And on one pitch, Jeffress sends the Twins out in the 6th, but they got a run thanks to a double and a single and a sacrifice fly. Story of the game, and the Brewers jumped on Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, home run by Choi in the 2nd inning made it a 1-0 ball game. And Aguilar hitting a 2-run home run in that 3-run 3rd inning made it a 4-0 ball game. Brewers added another run. And Brett Suter, outstanding 5 2/3 innings, looking for his 3rd win of the year. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts.
Now the Twins bullpen that has had its moments will try to put a few zeros up and see if the Twins can continue to come back. Yelich, the batter. Hildenberger got a couple of quick outs to wrap up the 6th. Neither starter went 6 innings, but Suter pitched much better than Gibson did here tonight.
Good changeup right there by Hildenberger.
Yelich, Aguilar, and Shaw in the 7th. Still no word as to why Joe Mauer left the ball game. As soon as we're given word, we will pass it along to you. Hit hard to center. Buxton now comes in and makes the catch one away. Are you game for a little excitement? Head to foxsportsnorth.com, submit a photo and message for the opportunity to be featured in the Minnesota Lottery Winner's Circle during our broadcast and receive $100 in scratch tickets. With the Minnesota Lottery, every day is game day. Here is Jesus Aguilar. Aguilar with a 2-run home run, part of a 3-run 3rd, when the Brewers officially asserted control over the baseball game. Wide, ball 1.
Aguilar coming out of the Indian organization, a guy that's finally getting a chance to play. Last year, you know, he up and down with the Indians for 3 seasons. Last year responded nicely at .265 in 133 games for the Brewers. Young man, very strong out of Venezuela.
I think we saw the strength in the 3rd inning, didn't we?
Yes, we did. High on that 2nd deck.
This one drilled, but it'll hook foul.
You know, sometimes you get stuck in an organization and, you know, in a trade, and you had the opportunity to finally play on a regular basis. Good minor league numbers, 140 minor league home runs. Hit 16 last year.
And Hildenberger came up and in with that more overhand fastball, and he nearly got strike 3. Aguilar did a nice job getting a piece of it.
Yeah, one thing Trevor tried to work on in spring training is that, yeah, he does go over the top with that fastball. He's also trying to throw a breaking ball from there because hitters can adjust very quickly. So he's always down here that underarm type of delivery, but when he goes over the top, it's always been a fastball.
Right, right.
foul. That got a piece of Wilson. One down here in the 7th. See the infield shift on for Aguilar. A deep drive down the line, and it hit the foul screen. A home run for Aguilar, his 2nd, and that is the 4th home run against the Twins that has hit the foul pole or screen. You might go all year and not see 1 or 2. There have been 4 balls hit off the foul screen against the Twins.
Oh, Aguilar again showing off that power. Looked like a changeup. Take a look at the pitch. That's a breaking ball. He went down and hooking this ball. And you're hoping, if you're a Twins fan, it goes foul. But instead, hit the pole.
2nd home run tonight for Aguilar, and now Shaw will bat, and Twins got one back, and the Brewers answer right away in the next half inning. This one's scalded. It'll hook foul. Nice catch. Very nice. See, that's what I mean. This is a friendly rivalry. This is not New York Boston. Brewer fan makes a nice catch, and the first guy he high fives is a Twins fan. Now, there were some in your playing days. There were some testy times, weren't there, between the Twins and the Brewers?
There sure were.
They were, both teams were in the American League back then. And he's given it to, was it a young Twins fan? Oh, look at that. I mean, come on. How are we supposed to build up this border battle when we see benevolence like that? And now to short center, and that'll die for a hit. Shaw with a single with 1 out in the 7th.
Well, this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC. And Shaw picks up his first hit. And for the Brewers, their 10th.
Domingo Santana will bat. Outside, a ball. Hildenberger had to pick up the last 2 outs of the 6th. He got the first of the 7th. And there's a good fastball on the outside corner. Two and 1. Swing and a miss. Wow. Domingo Santana just trying to hit his 3rd home run of the year with that swing.
79-mile-an-hour changeup. Stayed middle in.
That fouled to the backstop. Houston and Cleveland are tied at 1 in the 7th inning, and we have to start with the Indian scores, giving you the Tiger scores, because they are essentially tied with the Twins right now, and Ron Gardenhire has the Tigers playing better baseball than I think anyone other than Ron Gardenhire thought they would. 2-2. Tigers are in Seattle tonight. Nice stop by Wilson, and it's 3-2.
Yeah, some sad news coming out of Seattle with Robinson Cano and that 80-game suspension for PEDs.
And then beyond that, of course, when he comes back, I mean, the whole thing was a little suspicious. He was going to appeal, then he didn't, then he got hurt. Figured he's going to miss the next 2 months anyway, so he wasn't going to appeal. But then
if the Mariners do in fact make the playoffs, then Cano, of course, is ineligible for the playoffs. The team hasn't been in the playoffs since 2001.
Tell you what, that's just a stupid move by Cano. You know what? In today's game, with all the drug policies that are out there, just a bad move.
3-2 to Santana, and a changeup breaking away, and Santana heads back to the dugout, 2 away. I don't know whether Cano engenders any sympathy from anybody, but I can, as we take another look at strike 3 here, I can generate some sympathy for the Mariners, because they're into Cano for 9 figures over the balance of his contract, over $100 million.
Well, baseball, if they want to stop this and put a stop to it, his contract should be void once he was found guilty.
And I think you and I thought the same thing when Irvin Santana got pinched by the Twins before he ever threw a pitch for them. Doesn't mean that he can't resume his career with the Twins, but that contract that he signed under false pretenses should be voided. 1 strike. And I hope that in the next collective bargaining agreement, if the players, and the bulk of them are clean and they really want to clean up the game, they'll sign off on that. It would have to be negotiated, of course.
And the suspension should be more than just 80 days. It should be a season.
1-1, and a tapper foul, 1-2. At any rate, the next road trip we go to Seattle to face the Mariners for the last time this year. One and 2 to Choi. Started the scoring with a solo home run to the deepest part of the ballpark in left center field. 1-2. Jack swing, but he went. Good inning for Hildenberger after the Aguilar home run. He gets the Twins through the 7th, but it's now 6-1 Milwaukee. In the bottom of the 7th, the Dairy Queen combination may be the biggest reason why the Brewers are up near the top of the National League Central.
Well, look at the ERA combined out of that bullpen, 11-5, 2.60 ERA. And the whip, walks to hits to innings pitched, 3rd in all of baseball.
So this game has played out exactly how the Brewers had hoped. They got a very good start tonight from Suter. Now they can turn it over to the bullpen with a comfortable lead. We'll see what the Twins can do about that. Josh Hader's been a big reason why the Brewers have been at or near the top of the division all year long. And now Byron Buxton will try to have better luck against Jeffress, the hard thrower, than he did against Suter. Jeffress misses with the first pitch. Ball 1. Buxton left 4 men on in his first 2 at bats by striking out. Big pop up. Garcia makes the catch, one away. When you combine the most provocative man in sports with the most interesting man in sports, you get opinion that cuts through the hype. Catch Speak for Yourself with Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock weekdays at 4 p.m. Central, only on FS1. One down in the 7th, and now Ere Adrianza. Crisp fastball at 96 over the inside corner.
He's got a good arm. Jeffress, good fastball, curveball, split finger. Originally signed by the Brewers as their #1 pick back in 2006.
Now fouled away, 2 strikes.
Mentioned earlier, Kane went over to Kansas City Royals in the Zach Greinke trade. Also, Jeffress went over there along in that trade. Pitched for the Royals a couple years. Also time with the Blue Jays. This is his 3rd stint with the Brewers. Ninth major league season. There's that curveball right there.
And on 3 pitches, Adrianza sent back to the dugout.
Yeah, locked Adrianza up right there. Good tight breaking ball. After that 96-mile-an-hour fastball, then you get to strike out on that hard breaking ball.
2 down, and now Bobby Wilson. Just got word from the Twins Media Relations Department regarding Joe Mauer. Neck tightness has taken Joe out of the game here tonight, and he is day-to-day. And Bobby Wilson rolls a single through the right side of the infield with 2 outs. That'll get the lineup turned over, and Morrison will bat.
Well, he got a fastball right there and just went with it. So Wilson picks up his first hit. And for the Twins, their 6th here tonight.
Well, the Brewers have built a lead thanks to 3 home runs, and if the Twins are going to come back in this game, they're going to need to hit 1 or 2 themselves, and Morrison can make the score a little bit tighter if he can hit one here. He hit for Mauer in the 5th inning when we weren't sure what was going on with Joe, and it appeared to be something rather spontaneous with Joe. He played in the field, was 0 for 2, and Morrison didn't have much of an opportunity to get loose or whatever, and at least we don't think he did, and then he ended up striking out to end the inning. 1 strike. And now a ball.
Let's see if he can catch up one of these fastballs.
Morrison with an opposite field home run the other day. And a strike. 1 and 2. Brewers came into the game with a team ERA a full run less than the Twins, so there's no secret as to why they have consistently played good baseball so far this year. They've pitched. Despite the injuries that every team has had, and Brewers losing some starting pitchers along the way, but they've continued to pitch well, and that's been the case here tonight. Two and 2 to Morrison. Three and 2 with 2 down. Wilson will get the benefit of an early start from first.
Let's see if Jeffress throws his fastball right here to Morrison.
5-run lead, though I would imagine all the options are open here. Dozier on deck. hit well to the gap in left center, but it knuckles out to Kane, who makes the catch, and the Twins come up empty in the 7th.
Interleague border battle going on over at Target Field. I'm Anthony LaPanta inside Mall of America studio. Same two teams tomorrow night in the second game of this 3-game series. It's a slightly earlier start, 5:30 for Twins Live. Tom Hanneman and Justin Morneau will get you ready for baseball. First pitch at 6 o'clock from Target Field. Now let's head back to the ballpark.
Where it's been all Brewers here tonight. They scored the first run in the second inning. They kept adding on against Kyle Gibson. Had another run against Trevor Hildenberg. So right now, they're in control of things. And the Twins will bring in a new relief pitcher, Matt McGill.
Yeah, Matt McGill's done a good job since joining the Twins in late April, making his 9th relief appearance, covering 10 2/3 innings. He's walked only 1 with 9 strikeouts. Opponents hitting just .225 off of him.
Villar, Pena, and Arcia will hit in the 8th inning. And there's ball 1.
McGill with a fastball in the low 90s. Good slider, occasional curveball, and a changeup.
And that came through. I don't know if that hit the home plate umpire Marty Foster or not. It appears to be okay. 2-0. Twins being out hit 10-6. And a strike.
Back in the strike zone. McGill, 28 years old. Originally signed by the Dodgers in 2008. Came up with the Dodgers, 6 starts. Also pitched for the Reds. One of these guys just looking for a home. Signed with the Twins over the winter, free agent back in late January. Started the season in AAA, got called up in late April.
Brewers have 3 left-handed relievers. Boone Logan's one of them, and he's loosening up now. Tapper foul, 3-2. The Brewers so far in series play have 8 series wins, 5 series losses, and 1 split. Again, they embarked on a tough road trip in Colorado, Arizona, and Minnesota. 3 teams that were in the playoffs last year. This one lashed to the gap in left center field. And that will one-hop the wall. And Villar has his 3rd hit, this time a double leading off the 8th.
Well, he got a fastball away, didn't try to pull it, just took it the other way and split the gap between Rosario and Buxton. Ball 1 hopping the fence out toward the bullpen area. Good extension.
Replay brought to you by Carrier.
Millar picks up his third hit, his first double, his third double of the year.
Manny Pena will bat. Bounced into a double play, singled and walked. Anyway, the Brewers have a much better record than the Twins, but they've also played better on the road than at home. Now on this road trip through Colorado, Arizona, and Minnesota, they're 6 outs away from going 6-2 on the road on this road trip. And given who they were playing, Colorado, Arizona both made the playoffs. They were the wild card teams last year in the National League, and the Twins a wild card team in the American League. You figure 10 games, you come back 5-5. That's pretty good. Well, they're shooting much higher than that.
Yeah, Brewers right now 16-9 on the road, 10-9 at home.
High fly to right and retreating a little bit as Kepler. Tagging is VR, and he'll advance, and Kepler just fires it into Dozier, 1 down. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout, other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Infield in, and what we've seen, albeit briefly, is the Brewers just doing a great job advancing runners. If an out is made, that ball will twist into the seats. If an out is made, the runner or runners advance. Kind of what we saw on the last Twins road trip when they started a nice little winning streak in Chicago, worked it through St. Louis, a good ball club, and into Anaheim where they split. Swing and a miss, 0-2. But the Twins having a tough time playing their best baseball at home for some reason. Swing and a miss. And Wilson couldn't tag Arcia. And Arcia flails away, strike 3, and VR still at third.
And McGill does a good job getting that strikeout in a big situation where the runner at third and 1 out.
And now Kane will bat with a runner at third and 2 down. Kane is 0 for 4, even though the Brewers have 11 hits. He doesn't have one yet, and he fouls it back. Twins saw a lot of Kane, of course, when he was with the Royals. Had productive years against the Twins, but for a good part of that, of course, the Royals, as a team, were much better than the Twins.
Right, he's got power. He uses power to all fields.
Flip down the line, and that ball will land in fair territory. Kane gets his first hit, and it's a ground rule double. Scoring from third is VR, and it's 7-1.
And Kane picking up his 14th RBI on that double. And with that hit, every starter in the Brewers lineup has at least 1 hit. 10th double of the year for Kane.
And now Yelich will bat.
I just said he uses the whole field right here with 2 outs. Kane inside out swing. And the ball landed in just fair territory. All that spin hit the turf right there and bounced over the fence.
Fair by maybe less than a foot, but fair. 1-0. I was just thinking about all the balls that have hit the foul poles for home runs. Imagine if it really were the foul pole.
Why don't they call it the fair pole?
The 4 home runs that have hit the foul poles or the screens attached to them. That'd make things a little bit better for the Twins pitching staff.
Think they should remove them?
It's odd to see so many of them, though. My goodness, 4 in 1 year, and we're not even at Memorial Day 1-2. And a base hit through the hole to left. Kane to third. He'll be waved around. Here's Rosario's throw. And a nice play by Wilson.
Yeah.
Fielded the first hop and tagged out Kane. And Kane getting a little grief, I think, from the Twins dugout, trying to score, already up by 6 runs. He ran right to the lip of the Twins dugout and I think heard about it. It is 7-1 Milwaukee. Eddie Rosario pounced on a base hit to left field, came up with a strong throw.
I'll tell you what, if you're a youngster out there, this is the way you charge a ball right here. Watch Rosario come charging in, fielding it properly. Good straight over the top. A one-hop throw to Wilson to get Kane, who's trying to score from second base. So very nice play by Rosario, showing off that cannon he has for an arm. And the accuracy right there.
I still wish that he had fielded the ball, been able to make a throw in Anaheim, because I'm not so sure that the run would have scored, the walk-off run that scored, because of his strong and accurate arm. Dozier will bat. He's 0 for 3. Then Rosario and Escobar here in the Twins' 8th.
And Boone Logan, one of the 3 left-handers you talked about in the ball game, making just his 4th relief appearance. He started the season on a disabled list. Activated in early part of this month. Logan, a veteran of 13 major league seasons.
And a foul pop. And it's 1-1. Not a save situation here, but Corey Knebel has been anointed as the Brewer closer. And Dozier taps one foul, 1-2.
Yeah, the Brewers' first season for Logan. He's pitched for the White Sox, the Braves, the Yankees, the Rockies, last year with the Indians.
And Dozier takes 2-2. And a strikeout for the first out of the 8th inning.
And Bryant striking out for the 3rd time in a ball game. Logan picking up his first out on that strikeout. Fastball away. miles an hour. Little movement.
Rosario's hit the ball hard a couple of times, including his double with 1 out in the 6th. Later he scored the lone Twins run so far. And he takes a strike at the knees. Got in on the handle of his bat.
Well, you talked about the run differential between the Twins pitching staff and the Brewers, and I think tonight might be a little bit example where, you know, strike one. Suter did a great job getting strike one. Jeffress came in, strike one. Logan, 2 batters, strike one.
Oh, and 2. Did he go? Nope. 1 and 2.
Logan's always been a strikeout pitcher coming into this year. 465 strikeouts in 431 major league innings. Always out of the bullpen.
Deep to the left field corner. Yelich on the track makes the catch for out number 2. That'll bring up Escobar. May 22nd. It's Star Wars night at Target Field. A limited number of Star Wars night theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a Joe Solo bobblehead. Go to twinsbaseball.com/Star Wars. Learn more about the Star Wars night theme night offer. Twins have had a terrible time building an inning. They've had a couple of threats, but 1-2-3 first, 1-2-3 third, 1-2-3 fifth. I know the first 2 outs quickly recorded here in the 8th.
I think that second inning kind of took some of the wind out of the sail, you know. Runners at second and third, nobody out.
Justin talked about that, you know, during the Buxton at bat. If you don't score here, then the momentum really swings the other way.
Yep.
And Escobar drives a single through the hole on the right side. Well, it won't be a 1-2-3 inning, and Kepler will have a chance to give the Twins another good at bat. And he's done that 3 times tonight. Doubled against Suter in the 2nd, nearly hit a home run, missed by inches. Fell behind 0-2, but drew a walk in the 4th, and then lifted a sacrifice fly to deliver the lone run for the Twins so far in the 6th. And a strike. Phil Hughes might get the 9th inning. This is the 40th game of the year for the Twins, and it's been said for probably as long as they've been playing the game that managers, front offices wait until this point, 40 games in, to get a clear idea what type of team, what the strengths and weaknesses are. Checked his swing again, and it's 2-1. So I don't know really whether there is much clarity regarding this Twins team after 40 games, after today. They've had some injuries, but every team deals with those. I think the feeling is that the rotation could still be a strength of this team once Lance Lynn gets figured out, or things figured out. Down and in 3-1.
I think we've seen the hot and cold of the offense for the Twins too.
Right.
Defensively, I believe they're going to be fine, but the starting staff needs to get better and go deeper in the ball game, so the relievers, who have a combined 4.8 ERA, doesn't have to work 3-4 innings a night.
Deep to right field. Kepler lifts one up and gone. Max Kepler with a 2-run home run, and he's given the Twins 4 great at-bats here tonight.
4 quality at-bats. So Max Kepler, his 6th home run of the year, got a fastball from Logan and did not miss it.
crushed 2 balls against left-handed pitching tonight. The double almost went out, and this one did. So it's 7-3 with 2 down. And Grossman will bat. And foul back. Down and in, and it's 2-1. Hit hard to center, but right at Kane. 2 steps to his left. He makes the catch, and the inning ends. The Twins get a 2-run jolt from Kepler, still trail 7-3.
Field with Milwaukee up 7-3. Stay with us after the final out for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. Tom Hanneman and Justin Morneau on hand to take a look at how Milwaukee got it done at the plate. Everybody in the lineup contributing in one way or another. We'll also take a look at the very impressive at-bats tonight from Max Kepler, and then we'll head inside the clubhouse to hear from Paul Molitor. That's all coming your way after the game, guys.
All right, thank you. And Kepler's at bat's about the only good thing that's happened for the Twins tonight. They lost Joe Mauer because of some neck tightness, stiffness, whatever.
Yeah, Eduardo Escobar too. 3 good at bats. He got 3 hits in the ball game. So yeah, 5 of the 8 hits coming out of those 2 guys. Phil Hughes coming into the ball game, making his 5th relief appearance. He had a couple starts earlier this year.
Aguilar, Shaw, and Santana. The last out of the 8th inning was recorded with Lorenzo Cain trying to score, with the Brewers then leading 7-1. And I mentioned that Cain may have heard something from the Twins dugout. What do you think about that? Was that a good base running play by Cain?
I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't care what the score is. You played the game the right way. He's trying to get you know, the RBI for Yelich.
Okay. And meanwhile, Aguilar has his 3rd hit, 2 home runs. This one just a single, leading off the 9th. And that'll bring up Travis Shaw, tonight's box score, courtesy of Mall of America. And everybody in the lineup has at least 1 hit. VR with 3, Aguilar with 3. Travis Shaw will bat for Milwaukee.
They add all those up. There's 14 hits for the Brewers.
Now, honestly, did you just look at that and add it up without writing it down?
Honestly, I looked at the scoreboard up there.
And it said 14 hits.
14, yeah.
Okay. Shaw has just one hit. Ji-Man Choi started the scoring with a long home run. If Phil Hughes is going to find himself in a more significant role with the Twins, he only can do what he can do, and that is, he hopes, pitch clean innings like this. You don't want a lot of base hits. You certainly don't want any runs scored. You don't expect any walks under any circumstances anyway, but if Hughes can show that he can retire batters in this situation, that's really the only chance I would imagine that he has of finding himself in a more significant role.
Well, right now it's kind of one inning here, one inning there to try to get that arm strength back for Phil Hughes.
There was some thought as he gets a strikeout there, one down, that coming out of spring training he'd be the 5th starter and the long reliever, and eventually he found himself in the rotation twice, but the results weren't very good.
Well, that's why I'm saying, you know, he's going one inning at a time right now, and you know, he's going to be maybe pushed into that. If the starter, you know, has a poor start, he's going to have to go extra innings, and that hopefully will build up that arm strength if he wants to get back into that starting rotation.
Big swing by Santana, but the long relief role has not, it's been taken away from him, I guess, or I mean, what the Twins want to find out right now is whether he can, with one inning of work, condense all his energy, if you will. There's a ball lifted foul and out of play. Whatever he has left, focused on one inning in the hopes that he can pitch effectively in that role as he did for the Yankees years ago. And what we've seen is typically 92, 93 miles per hour, not 94, 95. 2 strikes to Santana. Driven to the gap. Rosario won't get it. It sails over his head. Aguilar doesn't run well, so he'll be held at third on a ringing double by Domingo Santana.
And Santana picking up his 2nd hit.
And that'll bring up Ji-Man Choi.
Well, it looked like a slider, maybe a little cutter right there that just kind of stayed middle in. Santana, who has not been cheated all night on that swing, makes good contact over the head of Rosario. You see where he was playing. One hops the fence. Rosario has to retrieve it, get it back in.
And now Choi, who homered in the 2nd, then a foul out and 2 strikeouts. Twins will bring the infield in here. They're marginally in this game here, down by 4 runs.
They're going to intentionally walk Choi, maybe set up a double play.
And that'll bring up VR, who has 3 hits tonight, 2 singles and a double. So Hughes has in reality faced just 3 men, and 2 have gotten base hits, but now an intentional walk filling the bases. Ball 1.
Wilson going out. You wonder if he was crossed up right there. Going over the signs.
Mound visit's not a issue here. That's just the 2nd mound visit for the Twins.
Yeah, the way Wilson caught that ball, I think he was looking more fastball, and it ended up being a breaking ball.
Pulled foul. One and one. And lifted foul the other way. He was trying to get a
strikeout, double play grounder, trying to just put a 0 up here with the Twins trimming the lead back to 4.
He needs a strikeout right here. Let's see what he thinks his strikeout pitch is.
The R's put the ball in play 4 times tonight. High fly, center field. Buxton retreating. And it won't be a clean inning for Hughes with Aguilar coming in from third base, a sacrifice fly. Join Fox Sports North as we inspire girls to be healthy and confident at the Alaris Mortgage Girls on the Run Twin Cities Spring 5K. Comes up Sunday, June 3rd at Mall of America. To register or volunteer, visit www.gotrtwincities.org/5K. Brewers have scored in innings 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 9.
That's not good.
No. Nope. When you fall behind early, you need somebody to put some zeros up if you're going to have any chance of coming back, and that has not happened. And the lead's back to 5. And now inside. 1-1. Nabel and Lopez getting loose. It's down the right field line, and Kepler watches it go a few rows back in the seats. Again, the Twins swept the season series, 4 games only last year, 2 here, 2 in Milwaukee, but the Twins won all 4. And while it helped boost the Twins into the playoffs, they won the wild card as it turned out comfortably. There were only 5 teams with winning records last year, and the Twins were the 5th one with 85 wins. Nobody else so much as had a 500 record in the American League. But those 4 losses to the Twins are really costly to the Brewers because they were 1 game out of the wild card spot. And so now they've come here to Minnesota and so far at least put on a pretty good thumping of Twins pitching. Foul back. Houston's opened up a 4-1 lead over Cleveland going into the 9th. Texas jumped on Seattle early. They lead it 3-0. And we mentioned it knowing it's just the quarter mark of the season. But the fact that the other teams are losing, at least Cleveland is losing, is the only thing that's kept the Twins from falling deep back into the standings. There's a liner to third. Escobar with a catch. The inning ends, but another run for the Brewers in the top of the 9th.
overnight from Colorado Springs. G-Man Choi started the scoring with a second inning home run. And Aguilar's hit a couple of home runs.
Yeah, good offensive night for the Brewers.
And it's not a save situation, but Corey Knebel has missed some time because of a hamstring injury. Activated. Now he'll get the 9th inning, even though the Brewers lead by plenty.
Yeah, you can see we saw that from Boone Logan too. A couple guys that are still trying to find themselves. Knebel making just his 7th relief appearance. Spent over a month on a disabled list with that left hamstring injury.
Buxton 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts and a pop-up to short. Twins would love to get Byron on base somehow twice a game, and it hasn't happened once so far tonight. And a strike, 1-1.
Knebel, you see, a hard-throwing right-hander. Last year made the All-Star team, representing the Brewers. Also led the National League in games pitched with 76 relief appearances.
2-1. Buxton, Adrianza, and Wilson. And the Twins hope to send a few more to the plate. Chopper to short. And over to first. Arcia throws him out, 1 away. Well, we think we got a special pitching matchup tomorrow because the Twins are sending a guy who has emerged as a top of the rotation guy. Fernando Romero will make his 4th start. Freddie Peralta was called up at age 21 by the Brewers from Colorado Springs, and he was brilliant, much like Romero was in his first start a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he took a no-hitter into the 6th inning. Peralta did. So Peralta making just his 2nd major league start, and Romero only his 4th.
Neither pitcher has had much experience at AAA, essentially skipping AAA to get to the big leagues and having an immediate impact. So we're looking forward to tomorrow's game on a lot of fronts. 1 strike to Adrianza. And a strike. Fouled back. Plenty of heat there, 97 miles per hour.
Well, just looking at Knebel's record last year, 76 relief appearance that led the National League, but a 1.78 ERA, worked 76 innings, 126 strikeouts.
Eesh. Filthy.
39 saves.
Yeah, called 3rd strike. 97 on the outside corner, 2 down. And that'll bring up Bobby Wilson.
Yeah, once property of the Detroit Tigers. He was their #1 pick back in 2013. Came over to the Brewers in 2014.
Wilson rolled a single to right field his last time up. And a strike on the outside corner. And a liner foul, 2 strikes. This has been, to this point, I guess you have to give Brent Suter a lot of credit for it. This has just been kind of a flat ball game for the Twins. And why they have more of those at home than they have on the road, I can't even begin to guess. But that has been the case here. Foul back and out of play.
Well, Twins come in with an 8-9 record here at Target Field, 10-12 on the road. Their goal, hopefully, to play better baseball, get back to 500. You know, in our division, right now, 500 leading the division. And with Cleveland, did they lose tonight?
Yeah, they're at the top of the 9th, down 4-1.
They're under 500.
And the Brewers beat the Twins in the first meeting this year, having been swept last year. And the Brewers having a great road trip against some good ball clubs, at least the teams that were good last year. Colorado, Arizona, and now a win in the opening game of this series.
Well, good pitching, great offense by the Brewers here tonight with the 15 hits and 8 runs scored. Well, 3 home runs for the Brewers.
And Tom Hanneman, the Twins will try to come back tomorrow. Hope to get a win at home in front of what should be another good crowd tomorrow.
Dick, the Brewers win combined with the Pirates loss tonight lifts Milwaukee back into first place in the NL Central. Up next on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll talk about what the Brew Crew did with the bats and Max Kepler's complete night at the plate.